say the first time I heard about it, I was at a theology on tap, and I heard Ralph Middlecamp speak. This was years before I worked for the organization. And I remember him talking about some guy named Frederick Ozanam, and I couldn't figure out why he was talking about this guy. I didn't really care about it. I just wanted to hear about how to serve people in need. But that was my first encounter with Ralph, and I had one other encounter with him after that. And then that was it until I applied for a position with an organization I did not know much about at the time, but have come to know a lot about. So I think it's at least a dual focus. I'm attracted to the combination of the spirituality, service, and friendship in the organization. The people that I get to work with here, the variety of tasks I get to do, and also just the welcome with which I was received when I first started working here. It's unusual to have the gift of having leaders who are spiritually grounded and just kind and gentle. And so that combination of being able to work with people like that and those who are really concerned about assisting those in need, everyone across the organization. And it's a quality organization that does good work. I would say that harkens back again to the variety of tasks I get to do, and just to be surrounded by a group of people who are all focused on helping other people and growing in their faith and being friends together at the same time. It's just a great group of people to be around. So during my time here, we started a group called the Youth Service Council with the high school students, and one of their initiatives over the years has been a scholarship program for their peers who may not otherwise be able to afford post-secondary education or training. And the very first year we did this scholarship process, which also supports the student's family during this time. The members of the Youth Service Council called the winner of the very first scholarship. That person online was so excited on the phone that there were members of the Youth Service Council who had tears breaking out in their eyes, and they were so excited to see the concrete result of the actions that they had done and how their initiative, their faith, their service, and their friendship had led to this moment. I think with many people, trying to keep people connected during a time of intense disconnection and separation during COVID, right? So with the high school group I mentioned earlier, they don't want to be on Zoom meetings anymore after their school day. How do you keep a group of high school students who basically want to do things and be active, interested in our organization and in the work? So there was a lot of punting, so trying to have meetings in park shelters. There was an outdoor prayer vigil, there was a drive-through hot cocoa and bake sale, which they all just really succeeded in, and I was so proud of the leadership at the time doing a great job to keep this group going, keep people connected during a time when it was exceedingly difficult to do so. In general, just trying to keep the membership connected and engaged during that time. And I think it's the relationships that were built previously that allowed those good things to continue during that time. I think I learned that building those relationships, that those will carry you through those difficult times. I'm not sure that if this time would have continued for 10 or 15 years longer, if there would be a continuation of relationships built to be able to sustain that. I think we were able to sustain it, and the organization as a whole and other organizations are able to sustain it for that time because it's built upon the friendships, the relationships that were previously built. I would say when we hosted the 2013 National Assembly with the youth component, it ended up being the largest youth program at a National Assembly to date that I'm aware of. I just was given a lot of freedom and trust to put together a program that in the end could be very cohesive then, and to reach out across the country and engage people in a way that maybe hadn't been done before. That was really neat to see. I received a lot of support, so I would run my ideas past people and they'd be tweaked, but just a lot of freedom and a lot of trust, which I really appreciated. I would also just say that in my experience of talking with people around the country in the society, that our organization here in Madison is very much respected. And so to be proud of working for an organization that is seen as a leader in all aspects of the society. I would say that the spirit of the society is what just sticks with me in general, and what I witness in the people involved with it is what stays with me. So probably unknowingly, on a fairly regular basis, I'm just internally humbled by the generosity, the kindness, and the compassion of our members and our volunteers and our staff. Just being in an organization with people who are focused on that is meaningful. I would say that some of the people I've gotten to work with around the country are now some of my closest friends, and I really appreciate that aspect of the society. I would say one story that just comes to mind easily was at one point our college conference was in St. Louis on a service trip. Their van was broken into and the purse with the money in it was taken. A Vincentian friend of mine, a volunteer, a member in St. Louis, without me even knowing, met up with them, gave them $100 of his own money not to be repaid. And that was already done without my even knowing that the van had been broken into at this point yet. It was just truly amazing to me and a great example of that Vincentian connection across the board. Jeannie Harper up in Marinette, she's kind of a surrogate aunt to me. I know if I was ever stranded in Marinette, within hours, she would have put together housing, food, and probably something fun to do on top of that. And if I was ever stuck in Florida, in St. Louis, in other areas around the country, even some of the international countries with the relationships I've made, like I know those Vincentians would have my back. I would say heart.